This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. I'm Bax. Grant, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
That's good. It is a Friday edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. We've made it through the week, Grant. Praise the Lord. We can finally relax. Well, I can. You got a kid. You can't really relax, unfortunately. Never relaxing. But it's always a good time. We are going to spend most of today's show talking about the Super Bowl because why not? It is Super Bowl weekend. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots, or as it should be, the Green Bay Packers and the New England Patriots. I'm over it. Anyway, just had to throw that little jab in there. But welcome inside the studio. We have a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. Josh Scheibe will join us later in the show as well, a man with many opinions and a distinct voice that you will not want to miss. He'll be joining us for our Super Bowl questionnaire a little bit later on in the show. Remember to check us out. We are on Twitter. You can find us at BG Sports Show. We are also on Facebook. Like the Bax and Grant Sports page. And then, of course, you can download all of our episodes on iTunes as well, just by searching for the Bax and Grant Sports Show. So, Grant, general news as we start off every show. I got a bone to pick with Kobe Bryant, but, I feel like most people do. The man just will simply not go away. He's out for the season, quote-unquote, with a shoulder injury that he sustained, but now he's thinking he's going to try to come back in September, Grant. Kobe, you're a great player, but at the same time, you also lead the league in missed shots, if I'm not mistaken on that regard. So I think he needs to just kind of hang up his sneakers, as it were. I can't say his cleats because that would be weird on the hardwood. Grant, what is your take on Kobe and everything going on with him?
Well, my thing with the missed shots, he holds the record for the most shots in the NBA overall, as in the record, but that's because he's been around in the league for so long. I don't have a problem with him as a player, but I do agree that I think it's time for him to move on. I do believe that this is his last season, just because of because of the way he's playing. He's not playing his best. He's hurt. It's just time for him to move on.
Yeah, and it's funny because you said he has been playing for a long time, and I honestly forget about that, and then I see pictures of him standing next to guys like Michael Jordan, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. He played with Jordan and some of those other big names in basketball, and it really boggles your mind on how long somebody like Kobe has been in the league. Some of the other news around the NFL, or just in general, Grant, did you want to go to the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, I would love to go to the
Super Bowl.
Do you
have $9,000 for a nosebleed ticket?
No, I
do
not.
Okay, well, I don't either. But as of right now, the cheapest tickets to get you to the big game would be about $9,000. So sell your children, sell your wife, sell anything just for the love of football. Knowing as crazy as Seahawk fans are, they probably would do some stuff like that. But yeah, I forget what the prices were. What the prices were for the first Super Bowl tickets, but they were astronomically cheaper. I think they were even under $100 for the first Super Bowl ticket because back then it wasn't as media popularized. I mean, granted, I know NBC Sports helped cover it back in the day, but still, it's not nearly to what it is now, Grant.
Right, and it just kind of it's sad to see that it's that much and that it's so hard to get a ticket like that. Mm-hmm. And there was a commercial a couple years ago where they brought in like a group of 5 or 6 guys. I don't know how many guys it was, but it was the guys that have went and seen every single Super Bowl, and here they're sitting fanning out these 40-some tickets to whatever year it was of all the Super Bowls that they went to. And I don't know how many people who haven't gone to a single one. So it's just kind of sad to see that they're that much, and it's a tough ticket to get. And knowing that I will probably never ever see a Super Bowl because I'm never going to pay that kind of money. I would pay if the Packers went to the Super Bowl. The only way I'd go is if I won the ticket in some weird way, shape, or form.
True.
Or if they were priced like any other. I would even say a Green Bay ticket.
Sure.
Because I know Green Bay tickets are one of the more expensive regular season ticket games.
Yep.
But I would pay up to that much. I'd say I want around $150 to $200, but never $8,000 to $9,000.
Goodness. All right, Grant, take a guess how much the first Super Bowl ticket cost. Just take a guess, because I found the number.
I
Back
guess
in 1967.
1967, I'd say $75.
You would be a very luxurious man if you paid $75. No, the tickets for the very first Super Bowl capped. Like the most expensive one was $12.
Wow.
$12. Granted, the admission for a movie back in '67 was $1.20. I really could use that nowadays. The cost of a new car was $2,700, and the average cost of living with a new home was $25,000 as well. So, prices have certainly changed in that regards. Grant, some other Green Bay Packer news just to kind of start off as we do our general sports, just to start off the show. Defensive back Devon House came out saying that he wants to stay with Green Bay, but at the same time he also wants to be a starter. Now, he's got guys like Tramon Williams, Micah Hyde, Casey Hayward, Sam Shields all in front of him for the most part. It's hard to really see a guy like Devon House as a starter for the Packers. So with that being said, do you think he's going to stay, or do you think he's going to maybe take off and go find greener pastures?
Well, he's most likely going to leave, except if something weird happens in the offseason that we lose Hyde or Williams, because it's always a possibility that something could happen to them, or maybe the Green Bay Packers organization can talk him into sticking around for a little while, because it's not like he's a bad player, but he's not the best player that we have.
Yeah.
So
he does hit the market in March as an unrestricted free agent, so I feel like more than likely he'll test the market, and I feel like he probably will get signed by somebody. I feel like he's probably going to have to downsize, though, if he wants to be a starter. He's probably going to end up on some AFC team like the Jaguars or somebody that are desperate for a cornerback. And if he wants to be on a winning team, he would be smart and try to stay with Green Bay.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to a higher caliber team as of right now.
Yes. Yep, certainly. Any other news, Grant, that really kind of jumped out at you in the sports world?
The whole Josh Gordon situation with him, and possibly he was found at a party with Johnny Football, and he might be suspended for a whole nother year because he was caught drunken and driving. So we were talking about it in a previous episode of our dream teams that we would have, and I brought up having Josh Gordon as being one of the receivers, and then saying possibly rethink that, though, because of his attitude that he's had in the past with drugs and everything like that, and not being able to keep his nose clean. And I said if he was able to keep his nose clean, he might be able to get back on that track. And clearly he's not changed his ways.
And it's funny because you think of a market like Cleveland. How much trouble can you really get in trouble in Cleveland? But we've seen Johnny Manziel consistently do it, and now we've seen Josh Gordon consistently do it. So Cleveland is not as innocent as it once was. One more thing I want to talk about before we go to a quick break. The Green Bay Packers, Grant, when they had their comeback win against the Miami Dolphins, was voted the Never Say Never moment of the year. Aaron Rodgers orchestrated the game-winning drive with the ball starting on their own 40-yard line with 2:04 left to go in the game, and they ended up winning the game on the last play of the game where Rodgers hit Andrew Corliss for the game-winning touchdown. So your Never Say Never moment of the year goes to the Packers.
Now, I have a funny story about that. I was watching this game, and I needed to leave the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Grant.
I needed to go.
You never give up on the fourth quarter.
I was not happy about it. So I got in the car, and I flipped it on to the AM radio, went to the AM radio station that it was on, and I was listening to it, and then the last play started, and all of a sudden I hit this dead spot, I get static, and I hear people yelling, but I have no idea what happened. So I'm here sitting in suspense for about 5 minutes, wondering how the game ended, until I finally get to where I am, and I just ask the first person I see how the game went.
Oh, man.
I was like, turned up the radio, was like trying to make out if it was touchdown or interception. I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, I watched that whole game. I definitely agree that it's the comeback of the year because that was fantastic.
Definitely, yeah. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, and Grant is going to do his rant. Don't go anywhere. The Bax and Grant Sports Show. Welcome back to the Backs and Grant Sports Show, aka the dance party, as Grant is dropping it low as he always does in the break. Once again, we really got to make the video crossover, Grant, because the fans are missing out on your sweet moves. I just kind of stand here with my hand in my face, just like, oh, Grant, why must you do such things? But anyway, Grant, we're going to actually do something we normally don't do very often. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, really?
Is that okay with you?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
They're actually doing well this season.
I am shocked. I am completely shocked. But yes, the Milwaukee Bucks are 24-22 right now. We want to just briefly highlight some of the things that they're doing so far this season. They are currently 6th in the Eastern Conference overall. So if the playoffs started today, they would make the playoffs ahead of a team like the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Bobcats as well, Charlotte Hornets. I'm sorry, Charlotte Bobcats. Woo boy. Anyway, but yeah, the Bucks, they are doing well so far. They went 2 for 3 on their road trip that they just did. They lost in San Antonio, but then they beat the Miami Heat and Orlando Magic. And they're doing it all without their rookie sensation, Jabari Parker, and then they were missing a few other players, Ilyasovic and Zaza as well. But they're still finding ways to win, which is great.
And especially in a division and a conference that has the teams such as the Cleveland Cavaliers that everybody, in my opinion, overhyped and said that they were going to be a fantastic team. But, I mean, they still have LeBron James. So
Cleveland is in 5th right now in the Eastern Conference.
Yes. And I talked to you, Baxter, about this earlier in the show. But
yes.
Way before, like in the early episodes of the show, if you're still following us from then, I made a very bold prediction. Extremely
you made
bold
Aaron King really mad at you.
Yeah. I made an extremely bold prediction that I don't see happening anymore. I said that the Cleveland Cavaliers would not even make the playoffs. And seeing that the conference they're in...
Those are fighting words, Grant.
Right.
Fighting words.
And seeing the conference that they're in and their record... I don't see that being a possibility. So, yes, I say that. But, however, I will make a new around mid-season.
It is mid-season. The All-Star break's right around the corner.
Yeah, so mid-season prediction that the Milwaukee Bucks will actually have a better regular season record than the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is still, to this point, extremely possible, seeing how well the Milwaukee Bucks played and how well the Cleveland Cavaliers played. So now going back to the Milwaukee Bucks, I just want to say that from going to having 12 wins or 13 wins or however many wins they had.
It was not many last year, that's for sure.
Now around doubling that only midway through the season, that's a fantastic turnaround for a team. So congratulations to those guys, and especially like what you said, without their top players or their top prospect player.
Yeah, yep. And they're only 5 game backs in the 5 backs. Oh, I'm talking about myself. They're only 5 games back in the Central Division behind Cleveland and Chicago. Chicago is 30-18. Cleveland is 27-20. And then you've got Milwaukee that's 24-22. And then there's a substantial drop-off from Detroit and Indiana, which is surprising because Indiana was a hot team last season. And the Detroit Pistons as a whole have always been relatively good. I remember for a period of time within the last maybe 10 years, they were a consistent contender in the Eastern Conference to try to either make the finals or get very close to the finals. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But right now, Milwaukee, like we said, they're in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. I like their chances, Grant, at making the playoffs this season, even without some of their superstars, or if Milwaukee even has such a thing, even without their good players. Let's go with that. They are still having a great season in that regards. They're averaging almost 99 points a game, which is not too bad, and then they're allowing the 6th best in the league at 97 points a game, which is funny because you hear that your team allows 97 points a game and you're like, oh my gosh, their defense must be awful. But with the way the NBA works, Grant, that's actually the 6th least amount of points that's allowed a game, which is kind of crazy to think about. So, Grant, are you ready to do the part of the show where you come out and sing a silly song? Oh, wait, that's VeggieTales. But are you ready for your rant?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. All right, for those of you that don't know, Grant's rant is the part of the show where he does not come out and sing a silly song, but he comes out and he talks for 30 seconds about anything he wants in the sports world in any capacity that he wants. So, Grant, on your mark, get set, go.
Seattle Seahawks Earl Thomas came out on Twitter saying that he disagreed with the NFL doing, HGH tests on them. And he said that they felt like criminals and that they were underappreciated. My thing is, when I get a new job, I have to go get drug tests. Everybody has to go get drug tests. You're not better than anybody else. The NFL's not treating you like criminals. They're just making sure you're not on dope or anything like that. So you're
Time's
like
up.
everybody else.
Woo! All right. Well, Grant's a little heated. He just threw the table across the studio. Well, Josh Scheibe's in studio. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl when we come back next. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show. I'm Bax. This is Grant. We are now joined. I feel like we should bow. Josh Scheibe is in the studio.
Please don't bow, please.
Why can't we bow, Josh?
Please don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't know, Josh is a very good friend of Grant and I's. We go to the same school. He is the editor-in-chief of the school newspaper, and you are a distinguished actor and just... Your sports background, although you didn't play a lot, you said you did enjoy playing sports throughout your childhood, but you chose a different path with your life.
Yep, that's true.
So, Josh, we are glad to have you here. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. It's about the only thing to really talk about that anybody really wants to talk about, unless you want to talk about Deflategate.
Oh, please, no. Okay, can we just say, why do we have to put gate on the end of everything these days? Any sort of scandal, it's got to be Deflategate. Why can't it just be, this guy's deflated the football? Deflate scandal.
Exactly.
Patriots cheated again.
Yeah,
something like that.
Simple as that. We don't need to go back to, what was it, Nixon that had Watergate?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, why does it all started with him, and then it just has gone downhill from there. But
the Revolutionary War probably would have been called Revolution Gate. If Watergate had happened
Gate,
before that.
something, yeah.
British Gate.
Tea-Gate.
Yes, Cain and Abel Gate back within the something, I don't know. But anyway, we had too much fun with Gate, I swear. So, the Super Bowl, the end-all, be-all, the pinnacle game of the season, the Patriots versus the Seahawks. The Patriots are still
Wait, the Seahawks? I thought you said the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, well,
Oh, let's not go there.
Come on. That was like 2 weeks ago, show, Grant, where I'm trying to move past.
That wound is still healing.
I've cleansed myself. I've weaned my way off of my addictions just to get back to a normal status for the show because the game, it's over. And they showed it on CBS this morning as well as I was getting my morning coffee. CBS was nice enough to show the highlights again from that game to show how the Seahawks heroically conquered the Pack. I'm like, we're done. CBS, you failed me. You had one job and you failed me. But, so Grant, going into this game, we'll get your prediction in a little bit, but talk about the New England Patriots after... Take Deflategate completely out for just a minute. If anybody is capable of doing that, and let's look back for a minute at the Colts-Patriots game and kind of talk about Andrew Luck, Tom Brady, just the overall collapse of the Indianapolis Colts as a whole, which led the Patriots to dominate that game in both halves. It was the first and second half.
Well, I feel like the New England Patriots, just minus Deflategate and everything, just stomped on the Colts. They do deserve this game. Anybody that says they didn't, they just have a fan bias. Because if you look what they did in the second half without the deflated footballs, they put up 21 points. And also without, if you want to take out the whole deflated football thing, just look at what LeGarrette Blount did, running back situation, put up 150 so yards with 3 touchdowns. So I think LeGarrette Blount showing up for that game, the Patriots, the Seahawks have to respect their running game now, which the Patriots didn't have a extremely strong running game. It was respectable, but now they have to respect it even more. So maybe pull off some coverage on what Rob Gronkowski saying that sometimes instead of having to double cover him. They want to pull a linebacker for run protection. I don't know, something like that. And that might open Gronk up for a 30-plus yard play.
Exactly.
So that could be interesting heading into the game.
Yes, LeGarrette Blount picked the perfect time to move forward with his career. Although he struggled early in the season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he found his niche at the right time of the season, and I think New England is very grateful for that because that does not make them a one-dimensional team going into the biggest game of the year. They've now got a consistent running game along with a dynamic passing game. So, Josh, I'm going to ask your opinion about this. It's not really football related, but Katy Perry's doing the halftime show.
Oh boy!
As a casual sports fan, what is your opinion on the hubbub that goes into the halftime show? And does someone like Katy Perry even belong as the entertainment section of it? You think of football, you think of manly men hitting each other, da 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 da. Shouldn't there be like AC/DC performing at halftime or something like that? Instead, we have a very attractive woman in Katy Perry doing who knows what she's going to do. She's got the picture in USA Today has got her wearing a skirt and some sort of other thing with footballs all over
sure
it.
What that is.
It's a good maybe Halloween sort of costume or something you'd wear maybe during Spirit Week at homecoming for your high school. But what is your opinion on the halftime debacle?
Well, you have to think about the fact that the Super Bowl is first and foremost for entertainment purposes. I mean, it's the biggest game shown for the entire year. I would say probably even bigger than the Olympics. And so if you look at it from an entertainment perspective, that's what people are really going to see. Yeah, there's there's the group of people who are looking for the demographic. There we go. That's the word. Jeez. Anyway, there's the demographic looking for guys smacking into each other, but there's also the people who are looking for the commercials, the more casual viewers like myself, or for people who are more interested in the music and entertainment side. So I guess I would say that, Katy Perry is popular enough to be the halftime show. Don't know that I'll particularly be tuning in. Not really something I'd be interested in, but it's a possibility.
Sure. I remember growing up that the halftime show was usually the time where parents would turn the TV off. All right, let's go get more snacks, etc. And I'm so glad they did that the year Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake performed because I was like, I want to watch the Super Bowl halftime show because I think that was one of the first Super Bowls I ever watched and actually understood what was going on with football. And my mom was like, no, it's never really that good. It's always kind of trashy or whatever. And I found out the next day, there was a big scandal at halftime. And my mom's like, see? I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom. I understand it. So shout out to my mom there for saving me at a young age. But didn't help that you went to the grocery store and there were pictures everywhere on magazines and everything else. I'm like, oh, all right, so that's what we missed. Anyway. But, Josh, continuing with you, talk a little bit about Seattle going into this game. Do you think that they're just riding off of we won it last year, so why can't we win it again this year? Or is it just the fact of we have the 12th man on our side? Or is Seattle as good as they actually appear to be, or is it all just a ruse with smoke and mirrors?
Well, I can't say that it's all a ruse because clearly they're a good team. They've got a very good secondary, great defense. As for Russell Wilson in the offense, I think he's young. I think maybe he with the replacement refs
last year. Yep.
Was that last year?
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway, and for whatever reason, I thought that it was earlier than that. Anyway, it seems to me just in that game that he may have been a little bit arrogant. Didn't really seem. As a person, I'm not terribly familiar with him. I'm certainly more of a casual fan of the Packers. So Aaron Rodgers fan, and he seems to be a much better person to me. It's possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
In any case, going back to the original point, I think there is something to be said for the Seahawks being a good team, having won it last year. But then you look at it again and you go, well, how many teams have won more than one Super Bowl in a row?
Not too many.
Not too many. So I think while there's certainly a possibility, and while I would probably put them actually ahead of the Patriots in my mind.
That's the favorite to win?
Yep.
You're saying? Okay.
Yeah. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see on that.
Well, there was talks that Russell Wilson beat 5 Super Bowl quarterbacks, or how many it was. But I watched a video that somebody did on it, and they were saying that the defense played so well that other teams that were put in that situation, the offense can get them out of it because they win, or the opposing team wins 17% of the time. So it's not that hard for the team with the fantastic defense to perform very well. Just take a look, for example, the Packer game versus the Patriots. The offense didn't play extremely well, but the defense kept them into it and kept them in it. Or the Seahawks-Packer game, it was the Packers' defense keeping them in the game for most of the game, and they still didn't even perform on that one. So saying that Russell Wilson is going to lead the Seahawks into victory, and he's going to put up a huge game in beast mode, or is going to go beast mode, or whatever you want to say.
That's usually how you describe him, but yeah.
No, it's going to be the defense, if anything, that's going to win the game. If the defense plays anything less than perfect, the Patriots are going to stomp all over them. I'm going to pick the Patriots going into this game. Now, I found couple interesting polls on Sports
you were talking
Nation.
About this before the show. Tell us what you found.
Yeah, so Sports Nation asked which team will win the Super Bowl, and 55 to 45% says the Patriots. Now, the next interesting poll was which team are you going to be rooting for, and 54% said the Seahawks. Now, this kind of shows...
That doesn't add up for some reason, but please continue.
Well, you have to count in Deflategate,
of course,
and all the history of Patriots cheating, this being them going into their 6th Super Bowl in the last...
Since 2001?
I'd say the Tom Brady era.
Yes, which has been in the 2000s.
Yes. And people are like, okay, the Patriots made it into the Super Bowl, big deal, what else is new? Get us a new AFC team. So I think people are done with the Patriots. They want to see the Seahawks repeat. Not having the last team to be the repeat would be the Patriots. So they want to see a new team in there. They want to see a new dominant team. But from what it looks like people are seeing that it's going to be the Patriots.
Yes, and you say that the AFC wanted a new team to represent them, but if the Colts somehow would have won that game against the Patriots, I'm almost positive we would have seen Super Bowl 48.2.0 from last year this year, because Seattle would have gone and completely destroyed the Colts, because the Colts simply do not have the type of team that can keep up with a Seattle style of team. I mean, we saw what the Seahawks did to the Broncos last season, and it was just awful. Peyton Manning, a Hall of Fame quarterback, they made him look like a Sunday rec league 50-year-old man.
It's like Pee Wee football.
Exactly.
Right.
It was like Pee Wee football.
Well, but the thing is, the Colts they're a regular season team, because they just, in my mind, they can't really perform. But then saying that it would be Super Bowl 48 2.0, I don't know, because everybody would say that the Seahawks would then come in and crush the Colts. But last year, everybody said this game was too close to call, that
that's true.
It was going to be whoever showed up, and obviously Broncos were in a different state at that point. But yeah,
I forgot the game was on Sunday. Like, where are we? Oh well.
But yeah, I don't think that it would be the same. But regardless, I do think that the Patriots are going to come in and just stomp the Seahawks, which I hope that happens.
Yeah.
I know some people are going to say that's a boring game, but I honestly don't see this game being close unless the Seahawks defense steps it up.
Okay.
Because I don't see the offense showing up.
Yeah. Well, going back to points that you and Josh made about the defense, it's the classic saying that defense wins championships, which is true. Seattle is the prime example of that. You had the steel curtain of the Pittsburgh Steelers back, I think it was the 70s or 80s. Even the 49ers for a while, too. The Baltimore Ravens, when they won the Super Bowl. I mean, Trent Dilfer was the Ravens quarterback, but they had Ray Lewis, they had Ed Reed, they had just a scary, scary defense, and that's the reason why they ended up winning that game. And we've seen it numerous other times as well. So a guy like Russell Wilson, as long as he distributes the ball accordingly, the game runs through him because he's the quarterback. He's the first guy that touches the ball on every offensive play, whether it's to hand it off to Marshawn Lynch or throw a pass. But it even reminds me of a recent article that I wrote about Andy Dalton, about the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that will never achieve greatness because, number one, Dalton is not a great quarterback, and two, their defense cannot carry the team if they needed to. There's good offensive weapons on the team. They've got A.J. Green, they've got Giovanni Bernard, Jeremy Hill, a few other guys, but they will never fully get to that point where they're going to get carried by one side or the other. Just as one example. But if you were to stick Andy Dalton on the Seahawks and give him the Seahawks defense, well, Andy Dalton would be, oh, wow, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league because his team wins all the time. Well, step back, look at the numbers. How good is Russell Wilson actually as a quarterback from a statistical standpoint? Sure, he threw 4 interceptions in the NFC Championship game and then delivered that one game-winning touchdown pass. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, is how many games you win, unfortunately, not what your stats are. But still, when you step back and you look at it from a statistical standpoint, which pretty much everybody that watches football professionally, as journalists and everybody else do, they care about the numbers. And Russell Wilson's numbers aren't that great.
Right, and the defense is what kept them in that NFC Championship game and gave Russell Wilson a chance to throw that winning touchdown in overtime. But like you said, he threw 4 interceptions that game. So be it one was his fault, but most of them were just bad throws, and he did not look like the Russell Wilson that is actually a semi-decent quarterback. I would say he would be on the better half of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. He's not elite, but he's definitely up there as one of the better ones that the league has.
Sure.
But the way he showed up to the NFC Championship game is not the way he should show up to any game, and if he shows up to in the Super Bowl, it's not going to end well for him. But the defense is what is, like I said before, is what's going to keep them in this game. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be up to Russell Wilson to put some kind of points in the board to hopefully kind of keep him in this game. But if it's 21, if the Patriots even get 21 points by halftime, I'd say it'd be over by that point.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a fast break. When we come back, everyone's going to offer their Super Bowl picks, and we're going to wrap up the show. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show with Josh Scheibe. Don't go anywhere. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. I know I say this every single time we come back off the air, but we really need to go to video because now Josh and Grant were both dancing in the break. I was sipping my coffee, pondering what I was going to say next, and I look over and the two of them are just swing dancing or whatever the heck. I don't even know what they were doing.
That's how we prepare.
Oh,
Max.
that's
this
how,
is how we
everyone's
prepare.
got their own way,
It's
I
a
guess.
warm-up,
Of course, but we are offering our final thoughts and our predictions now about Super Bowl 49, Patriots versus Seahawks. Josh, we'll start with you. Give us your final score, give us your MVP, and then one surprise that you think might happen during the game.
All right, let's see.
In any order, whatever out of those three you want to do.
Oh, I'm going to say probably 17-10 favor of the Seahawks.
Okay.
Probably, let's see. Russell Wilson will probably end up being MVP then, if that happens. And what was the other thing? Sorry.
And then one surprise that you think will happen during the game.
Surprise.
Anything from the time the game kicks off to it concludes, something weird that's going to happen during the game.
Let's see. Probably one big game-changing interception by the Seahawks defense, which, whether it's a surprise or not, we'll see.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Grant.
Patriots take it 35-17 over the Seahawks.
Oh my.
MVP Tom Brady with Rob Gronkowski.
Rob, what a guy.
Bringing up second place. Close second, almost getting that MVP. But
Almost.
If you have a high offensive scoring, it always goes to the quarterback.
Always.
And then one surprise is that during the halftime show,
Katy Perry took mine.
Katy Perry trips and falls on her face.
Oh, Katy, not Katy. All right.
I don't know if that's a surprise or not, but
it's supposed to go flawless, you'd think, but that's just kind of how
that's what they
goes.
have that 3-second delay for, right?
Exactly. Yeah, 3 seconds. She fell. Quick, get her back up. Oh, nothing happened. Perfect. She'll just start to fall and then be back up again. Be like, huh. It's amazing. Science. No, magic. Anyway, I'm going to go 27-20 New England. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people will give it credit for. New England is my winner, and then my MVP is also going to be Tom Brady. I think Brady is going to have one of the better games of his life. I think he is going to go straight at Richard Sherman and be like, look, you talk all this crap, well, I'm going to go right at you. And
Tom Brady's the person to
you.
do that.
It is, yeah. If there's anybody that I would trust, aside from a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I would trust Tom Brady to look Richard Sherman in the eyes and be like, I'm coming for you. And then you stole my halftime weird thing, so I'm going to say that Richard Sherman leaves the game hurt. He's already nursing a injury, but I think Richard Sherman is going to get hurt in the game, and that's going to lead to the Patriots ending up winning because Sherman leaves the game, and then they exploit that. So that is my prediction. Josh has the Seattle Seahawks winning 17-10 with Russell Wilson as his MVP. Grant has the Patriots winning 35-17 with Tom Brady being his MVP, almost Gronkowski. And then I've got the Patriots winning 27-20 with Tom Brady being my MVP. Grant and Josh, I know you guys got to take off a little bit early, so let's get your closing thoughts before we close the show a little earlier today.
All right, so what are we talking about?
Anything you want.
Anything
you can close the show any way you want, Grant.
Anything I want to talk about.
It's your show, Grant. You do what you want.
It's my party. I can cry
exactly. You can cry if you really feel like crying for the next 30 seconds. That's all on you.
Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody that listens. We really appreciate. We really enjoy doing this. We have so much fun. People that we bring onto the show are just like, hey, that was actually really fun. I'm like, I know. When we started doing this, I didn't know how much fun we'd be having, but we're having such a great time. Baxter had a Facebook post yesterday, or it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday, and he was saying that this was just the top point in his week. We just have so much fun doing this, and we appreciate you guys for just listening to us talk for 45 minutes about sports to each other, and you guys somehow finding it entertaining. And then on that note, just remember that we have a Facebook page, that we're on iTunes, and that we have our brand new Fancy Dancy Twitter page that you can go follow up.
Yep.
We're on it every once in a while, just retweeting anything we find interesting, show news, anything that comes up, anything like that.
Yep. All right. Well, Grant, thank you again for always being here. It's always a pleasure, sir. Josh, thank you for stopping by. Any final thoughts that you want to offer the listening ears?
Just that I really appreciate that you guys had me on the show today. I really enjoyed it. Hope to be back sometime soon.
Definitely.
And also, people, please stop putting gate on the end of things. For the love of everything holy, just stop.
Scheibe Gate. Start it. It's the new one.
Oh, no.
#Scheibegate.
There'll be t-shirts. All right. For everybody here at the Baxter Grant Sports Show, I'm Baxter Colburn. That's Grant Coppersmith. That was Josh Scheibe. It'll be a fun Super Bowl. We'll see if Katy Perry falls on her face. We're picking the Patriots. Josh has got the Seahawks. Have a good weekend. We'll see y'all on Monday. Have a good one, everybody. But if you close your eyes, does it